Let's go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield, who is seeking a new contract. Well, their Bucs GM, Jason Light, guy you're a big fan of, he was talking about Baker Mayfield. He said, listen, don't worry, we're going to sign Baker. Here we go.
Baker is at the forefront of our mind at all times. All of our plans revolve around Baker, and that's something that we'll get to when we, at some point. I have had a lot of discussions with Baker about the team. I know we texted during the draft after some of the picks. I know he was excited about the players that we took. So we have a great relationship. And listen, nobody here wants Baker to be playing for any other team. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, he's a perfect fit. He'll get signed. He's a great fit in Tampa.
No Mike Evans this year. Mike Evans has been his go-to guy for a few years now.
Yeah,
I know Godwin's back.
Listen, Sam Darnold had Justin Jefferson, and then he had JSN. If the system's good and you get some protection, Baker's good enough to develop another relationship. Ibuka's great young player.
He's very good. Now, the only problem, I felt like there was some regression. Now, they've had a lot of turnover offensive coordinators. They keep getting snapped up.
I'm not going to blame him. You can't lose Dave Canales and Liam Cohen back-to-back years. And
100%.
You're not going to keep hitting home runs on coordinators. I don't think it's a Baker issue. And I'm not blaming anybody in Tampa, but literally Liam Cohen was the talk of the league for a couple years. You're not going to keep doing that over and over. You're not, like Ben Johnson leaves Detroit. You're not getting his equal down the hallway. Like they had to literally go through a tough year. Then they go to Arizona. It's hard to replace a Shanahan or a D'Amico Ryans. Go look at the Niners. D'Amico Ryans leaves the room. They kind of bounce around. Then they get Saleh. Now Saleh leaves again. It's hard. When you have an elite coordinator, you get him usually 2 years max, and they're out the door.
So let me ask you, price point matters.
$42
Baker says,
million.
I'm sorry, I don't care that Sam Darnold won a Super Bowl. I've got better numbers from him, better numbers than him the last 3 years. I need $45 million a year.
No, that's a lot.
45? What do you want to give him, 30?
41.
I mean, so he's like $25 million less than the elite guys.
Aaron Rodgers played for $10 million last year.
He's washed. He's like 47.
He had a great year.
Okay, so this is honestly going to be incredibly intriguing to watch, how much money Baker Mayfield ultimately secures. Because the ripple effects from that deal are going to be massive across the entire NFL. Right? Think about it. For a long while now, the league has operated under a pretty straightforward rule. If you're a starting quarterback, the assumption is, hey, you're going to be the guy leading our offense until you definitively demonstrate you cannot do the job. Like, there's no question about it. You're not a stopgap, not a let's see how it goes. You are, without any reservation, our starting quarterback. And the moment that's established, you get the premium compensation. You secure the top-tier, market-setting money. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the only exceptions we've really witnessed, guys like Baker himself, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, those were all highly unique circumstances happening at very particular moments. In those cases, the attitude was more like, yeah, we'd be pleased to have you on board. It'd be kind of interesting, if you want to take a shot here. The vibe was very much that those players' careers were essentially dangling by a thread. So it was a situation of, yeah, sure. And oh, by the way, Geno Smith is also on the older side. And yes, we could even bring up a Matthew Stafford as an example, but again, that's another very specific scenario. However, if you are a legitimate, bona fide starting quarterback in the NFL right now, and you're still in your 20s, with no sense that you're exiting your prime or that your professional future is precarious, you get paid. You receive substantial, genuine money. Not in the 30 million range, not in the 40 million range. You get the full-blown contract. The complete, big money deal. And so, as we've mentioned before, given the level of production Baker was showing and what Sam Darnold has been delivering, it used to be that they would never have landed the contracts they're now in position to get. They would not be signing deals like 3 years for $100 million. That simply wouldn't have been the case at all. Not even close. So that's why this is going to be so fascinating. Truly, deeply fascinating. The specific dollar amount Baker ends up receiving, because you even hear the general manager saying things like, we want him. He's our quarterback. And my immediate reaction is, well, okay, if you genuinely feel that way, then you're essentially declaring that he's the guy. And if you have the guy, then he gets compensated like the guy. I'm not arguing that he needs to become the absolute highest paid quarterback in the league. That's not necessarily the point. But at the same time, it's also not likely to be some sort of $41 million per year deal either. And again, it would be one matter if Baker were, say, 35 years old, and we were all thinking, alright, he's got a few decent seasons left in him, maybe some good football. But that's not real. Why the situation here? He's not 23 either, but still, he's in his prime. So this is a real moment. Are we finally going to transition into a new way of thinking? You know, Sam Darnold, you did win a Super Bowl. You are eligible for a new contract. We do believe in you as our quarterback. But we're not going to pay you as much as Josh Allen, right? We're not going to reset the entire quarterback market. That era is over. Because for a while, we were definitely existing in an NFL where no matter which quarterback was up for a new deal, it was simply next man up, get paid. Trevor Lawrence? You haven't shown enough consistency? Doesn't matter. You're getting an absurd amount of money. Jordan Love? You haven't even played a full season's worth of games? Great. Doesn't matter. You're getting all the money. Tua Tagovailoa? Can we even confidently say you'll stay healthy? Doesn't matter. You're getting all the money. It felt like everyone was getting paid, regardless of track record. And now, when we look at the value represented by a Sam Darnold type or a Baker Mayfield type contract, we suddenly realize, oh, this is like an ultimate superpower. This is incredibly valuable team-building leverage. And think about it, name a team that genuinely needs a quarterback. And this is where the conversation gets tricky. For example, let's say Baker could become a free agent this upcoming season, right? Let's just imagine he's free to sign anywhere. And he's thinking, I could go to any team right now. I can do whatever I want. How much money would some of those desperate franchises be willing to pay for a player like Baker? Consider the Arizona Cardinals. Or the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta is very much in the market, you know, potentially needing a franchise quarterback. And I have to wonder, would they pay $50 million for a Baker Mayfield? Would they actually do that? What about others? Let's just run down the list of teams. The Arizona Cardinals, yes. The New York Jets. That's a very similar situation to what the Buccaneers were in, or the Seahawks, or the Vikings. But here's the key difference, now that the league has seen what you can accomplish with quarterbacks in the Baker and Sam tier, guys who are good but not elite, you're going to have to pay them more than before. So the question becomes, are you going to pull the trigger? Or are you going to hesitate and say, we still don't want to commit that level of money. We'll only pay top dollar if you're a Josh Allen type, or if we genuinely believe you have that kind of sky-high potential. We paid Trevor Lawrence because we believed one day he could be our quarterback for the next 15 years, ideally. But with Baker, he's really only going to be your quarterback for maybe the next 6 years, right? Is it about age? Is it about the perceived potential to become a top 3 quarterback in the NFL? What's the actual logic here? What's the approach? Or is it simply, listen, we see you as a second-tier quarterback at best. And therefore, we'd rather take a risk on a rookie draft pick, or sign someone like a Mac Jones for $10 million. That's another element that makes this so interesting. Because we saw what Mac Jones did with the 49ers. He's making what, like $6 million or something, and I think, okay, he's still hanging, his career is still kind of dangling by a thread. I think if you were a free agent right now, considering his performance in San Francisco, heckled command a deal, maybe no Tasma case Baker or Sam, but certain more than $6 million or something, and I think, okay, he's still hanging, his career is still kind of dangling by a thread. I think if you were a free agent right now, considering his performance in San Francisco, heckled command a deal, maybe no Tasma case Baker or Sam, but certain more than $5 million. We saw Justin Fields get, what was it, 2 years for $40 million? That was obviously terrible business, but it still happened. So you have this comparison, okay, sure, we think Baker is better than Mac Jones. But Mac Jones at $20 million a year compared to Baker at $20 million a year compared to Baker at $45 million a year? The amount of money we save and the quality of the team we can build around that savings is just too significant. We're taking Mac Jones. That becomes a genuinely fascinating conversation. It really, really does. And everyone thinks they automatically know the right answer, but I'm telling you, it's not that simple. It's incredibly nuanced. Let's use basic tiers: number 1 tier, 2nd tier, 3rd tier, right? Tier 1, Josh Allen, Patrick M. Mahomes. I won't even name names for tier 2 because people get upset, but just think of 2nd and 3rd tier conceptually. The question is, are you better off having a 3rd tier quarterback whom you pay $10 million rather than a 2nd- tier quarterback whom you pay $10 million rather than a 2nd- tier quarterback whom you pay $50 million? Are you better off with a 2nd tier quarterback at $45 million or 3rd or -1 quarterback at $45 million or 3rd or -1 quarterback at $60 million? These are real questions. These are the dilemmas. And depending on how well run your organization is, there are real repercussions. There are genuine consequences. There are real stakes involved here. So, yeah. I mean, we're going to get a front row seat to this entire process with Baker Mayfield right now. He's really the first domino to fall in this new conversation. We'll see with Sam Darnold later. It's going to be weird when Sam becomes eligible to get paid again. Because obviously, he won the Super Bowl, but that was year 1. So if he doesn't win again, it's not hard to imagine that maybe that was the peak of his career. He won the big game, it was great, it was awesome. But most quarterbacks never win a Super Bowl at all, let alone multiple. So it's easy to picture Sam having a few more decent seasons, nothing crazy, nothing terrible, but just, they make the playoffs again and then get knocked out in the divisional round. Right? We've seen that scenario a million times. We've seen it from Baker, we've seen it from Brock Purdy, we've seen it from Jalen Hurts, we've seen it from Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. We've seen it from virtually every quarterback at some point. So the question becomes, what does he command in his next contract? Will the team say, well, we won a Super Bowl with him, but we don't want to pay him top dollar? It's a heavy quarterback draft class next year. We're going to reset with a rookie contract and start over. You could easily see that happening. Very easily. Alternatively, they might say, hey, we want to keep you, but we only want to pay you $40 million. Are you willing to doff it? I don't know. Anthanidal Sada Pen Sunwatoth your option Sari available around the league. There could be another team. Maybe the Chiefs build an amazing roster, but Patrick Mahomes is simpledone his career. Maybe Jets and Jared again, and he's just no thessum player. And the Chiefs think, man, we've able this tact roster and no Mahomes. Unfortunately, at the end of Fizran. We'll pay Sam Darnold $40 million. Are you willing to doff it? I don't know. Anthanidal Sada Pen Sunwatoth your option Sari available around the league. There could be another team. Maybe the Chiefs build an amazing roster, but Patrick Mahomes is simpledone his career. Maybe Jets and Jared again, and he's just no thessum player. And the Chiefs think, man, we've able this tact roster and no Mahomes. Unfortunately, at the end of Fizran. We'll pay Sam Darnold $55 million. Right? It's like, we'll pay him. We can give him 2 years, $100 million, or whatever it takes. Because they're ready to win right now. That is somewhat similar to what the Buccaneers did with the Tom Brady situation, not exactly the same, but the idea is, we have a great roster, we just need a quarterback who can win immediately. So it really depends on the makeup of the team, the narrative surrounding the franchise, the specific situation. It depends on the broader context around the NFL. So, yeah. I am absolutely fascinated by this. This has genuine economic repercussions, and it will give us a front row seat into the current philosophy of how these decisions are being made. It will show us where the trends are moving either toward or away from. And Baker and the Buccaneers, for that matter, are just the perfect barometer. Because they're not the Chiefs. They're not the Rams. They're not some very specific situation with a unique fan base or a story of immediate, recent success. They're also not a desperate franchise where you say, alright, I don't really care what the Arizona Cardinals do because they're a total mess. People always said that about the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, they paid Deshaun Watson all that guaranteed money, but just because they made a bad decision doesn't mean everyone else has to make bad decisions now. That one terrible franchise doing terrible things doesn't reset the entire market so that all quarterbacks get fully guaranteed deals. We're not following their lead. And that's not who the Buccaneers are. So they're going to be a fascinating barometer. A truly, deeply fascinating barometer. So, yeah. The NFL could be changing. It really could. And we were absolutely living in an era, right up through Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, where it was just, you're a quarterback, you're a genuine starter, you're up for a contract, you're getting a ton of money. No doubt about it. You are getting a huge payday. But it is kind of weird, though, because some analysts like Collins are pretty much saying that Baker should sign a Geno Smith-type contract. And you have to ask, should he? Geno is at the end of his career, and Geno got that money, and look how badly he performed afterward. So shouldn't Baker get even more money? And how hardball does Baker want to play? Because Baker was given a gift by the Buccaneers. They said, come here. We're willing to do this dance with you. So, yeah. I'm fascinated to see how it all unfolds. Those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you all think about the Baker Mayfield contract situation, how this is all going to play out? Let me know your opinions in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get some discussions going. Let's get into some debates, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you be a part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing that. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.